people who are attending, showed interest in attending but couldn't. It renews that dual credit is a campus-wide, it is a university initiative, and there's a lot of really good investment coming across the board for it. Big shout out to Rusty and to Chris. Both of them have been really instrumental in both encouraging me, but also providing me with plenty of edits on my presentations and my ideas for these sessions. And with that, we'll go ahead and jump in. So again, this is our second session, the TLI series for dual credit. Last session, we focused more on giving a bigger picture overview of what dual credit is, what it means for EKU, some of our projects in works, and some of the expected outcomes that we have for the program. This session, however, is shifting to more of a collaboration. We'll have some discussion questions that we'll share to help guide a conversation on dual credit. And as Rusty discussed, this is really about helping us shape the future of dual credit at EKU. Uh-oh. Thank you. All right. So I'll go over a brief agenda and some session objectives. Today, we'll start off with a recap of our first session. Again, that's just what we covered last time, a few weeks ago, on some of our program outcomes, some of our current focuses, and of course, where we're heading as a dual credit program. We'll discuss some of the program priorities and initiatives that we have currently in the works, some of the things that we want to get started here in the next couple of weeks, semesters, months, years, any kind of timeline you want. Then we'll move into an open discussion. This is really the core of our session today. I want to hear what you, as a dual credit partner, is seeing, what your departments need from the program, and where you think that we have some opportunities to improve or collaborate. That's the direction that we want from this conversation, and your feedback is really going to help us move forward. Our first objective is that we want to identify opportunities to strengthen the dual credit experience. That's not just for our students, but it's also for our faculty and staff who are highly involved in dual credit or affected by dual credit operations, the program, everything. That includes instruction, processes, communication, and anything that really affects the university, the program, faculty, or the students. Second, I want your feedback on current initiatives that we are currently working on. Some of these efforts are already underway and others are still forming, and your insight will help us shape how they continue to move forward. And then lastly, we want to generate some more ideas for future collaboration and partnership. We have a really unique opportunity here. Especially with your collaboration, you have a direct view of what your department needs, what your faculty expect, and what priorities we as a collective have for the dual credit program. And so your input will be essential to help us move forward and continue to grow the dual credit program. Starting off is our session 1 recap. In session 1, we reviewed the dual credit landscape across the state of Kentucky and talked about how how dual credit participation across the state continues to rise. That was something that we heard in Dr. Thompson's connection at our convocation. It's also something that we continue to hear just in a lot of public forums. Dual credit is continuing to grow. And so we looked at some of the ways that is growing, some of the avenues that students are getting access to dual credit. But then we also focused on EKU specific growth. Our dual credit enrollment has nearly doubled over the last several years. We have enrolled more than 1,400 enrolled. We have more than 1,400 enrolled students this fall semester. We're anticipating about 1,600 in the spring semester. So it's becoming a pretty large cohort of students. That scale matters because it means that we're engaging in a very, very large population of college-going students who have a direct connection to EKU, and they're earning EKU credit. A lot of opportunity there. And that leads us into our discussion of the institutional value of dual credit. The strongest point for dual credit and its value to the university is its recruitment potential. Every student who registers for an EKU dual credit course is a student who has already told us that they're both college bound, but depending on the enrollment, and for most of our students, they've already told us what programs they're interested in studying in post-secondary studies. And they've already enrolled in criminal justice classes, in business classes, in psychology classes. And so we've already identified some areas that these students are highly interested in. Let's recruit them using that information. As well, these students already have a positive experience with EKU. They're learning our systems, they're learning our faculty, they're learning our courses and how we administer an academic experience for our students. And so let's build on that and help them grow that affinity with EKU and see how it can actually become an opportunity for them after the high school graduation. We also discussed the academic side of this value. Dual credit strengthens preparation, supports pathway development, and it allows for earlier advising and intervention. One of the great questions that we had at the very end of our conversation last time, and another question a question that keeps coming up is, how are we helping our students be prepared for college? How are we ensuring that the credits that our students are taking are actually going to work for them? That's exactly the kind of opportunity that we have here. With your collaboration, with continued collaboration with academic advisors, with program coordinators, we can learn what courses are going to be the best ones for our students to take, advise them to enroll in those opportunities, and even create sequenced pathways for students to get a number of classes that are actually going to work for them in that program and help them build that affinity with that program. And then finally, we identified some early opportunities for stronger collaboration across departments, including earlier engagement, both with the course scheduling process, but also engagement with our students, clearer data sharing, and better alignment with your department's expectations of dual credit. So our current initiatives, this is really where I'm going to focus on some of the things that the dual credit office, of course, is focusing on, but Rusty and I have been working very closely for the last several months, and he's, of course, has been the biggest guide for me in getting these TLIs going and everything, but he and I have also put in a lot of really cool projects that we think are going to help the collaboration that we're wanting to have with you. So the main one that I wanted to talk about is our dual credit guide for academic affairs. Some of you have already participated or will participate in focus groups that are helping us to form a guide for our academic affairs leaders and practitioners to demystify anything of dual credit, to establish some standard operations for dual credit, establish timelines, and make sure that all the dual credit operations are transparent and shared across where they need to be. We're hoping to have a draft of that to share broadly towards the beginning of the spring semester, and we're really looking forward to continuing to develop that and see how well that will help us continue to collaborate further. The second area of our focus is faculty support and accountability. This is primarily with the dual credit specific faculty, the teachers that we have on site at our partner high schools, which is significant. Dual credit had 120 course sections this fall semester, and about 85 of them were specific to a high school where a teacher was credentialed by our academic departments and teaching our curriculum. And so there is a large cohort of these dual credit instructors, and we want to make sure that we are supporting them, but also holding them accountable to the same standards that all of our other faculty are held. With that, Rusty and I have worked on a dual credit faculty specific symposium. We launched our first iteration of that this fall semester virtually. It was a hit. There was a lot of really great sessions for our faculty to learn about dual credit policies and procedures, what it means to be a faculty member at EKU, and some instructional insights that they can incorporate into their classrooms. We're working on our spring symposium right now, and even looking ahead to our fall 26 symposium. And so I'm really, really excited to see that continue to develop. And then the last area is the academic affairs leadership engagement. And that's really where we're setting up specific time, specific opportunities to meet with leadership and practitioners in academic affairs, chairs, leaders, faculty teams, to identify challenges, needs, and opportunities for partnership. These are the conversations that are going to help us shape how we continue to schedule dual credit courses, how we continue to support dual credit faculty, and how we can manage the quality and consistency across all the disciplines that we have represented in the dual credit program. And it's also going to help us understand exactly what you all need from us from the dual credit program to continue that collaboration, but also expand on it. All right. Then there are also some student-focused, recruitment-focused areas that we're focused on, including the student advising intervention. One of the biggest things, like I alluded to earlier, is one of the biggest things that we keep getting asked is, how are we ensuring that our students are taking dual credit that actually matters for them? Harmony Little, the vice president for one of the vice presidents for KCTCS, calls it random acts of dual credit. It's a funny term, but unfortunately it has a lot of meaning behind it, because there are still a number of students who are taking dual credit courses that are really random. They don't really matter to them. It doesn't make sense for a student who's going to go into aviation to get 9 credits in underwater basket weaving. So what we're trying to do is make sure that the academic advising and intervention that we're providing to our dual credit students, both by the dual credit office, but also by our departments, by our advisors, just across the board, is actually going to help the student earn credit that's meaningful for them. We're working with academic departments to develop enrollment pathways. We, of course, have some fantastic pathways already, but in our last sessions, we even explored some new ones. Dom discussed a creative writing pathway. I've talked to Jamie a million times about a psychology pathway, which would be fantastic. But we have a lot of really, really great opportunities for pathways, sequences of courses that get our students who are interested in those programs enrolled in courses that are both going to expose them to that curriculum, but it's also going to earn them credit that actually works for them once they get here as a traditional first-time freshman. We're working on developing relationships with our schools and districts so that we can leverage our dual credit partnerships as a recruitment opportunity, not just for our freshman recruitment teams. We've discussed with a lot of faculty and academic affairs leadership here in the last several months about getting our faculty more involved, our traditional faculty more involved in the dual credit classrooms. Something that Michelle Smith has talked about is going and doing some guest lectures in our dual credit mathematics and calculus and statistics sections, which that would be a fantastic connection with not just a faculty member, but also an academic affairs leader, to show that student that is the kind of academic experience and support that they're going to get at EKU after dual credit enrollment. As well, bringing students to campus. Something we've talked about with Abby Poffenberger is bringing students who are in our Spanish 101 and 102 and even 201 and 202 courses to campus to visit the Bobby Verdugo Leadership Center, visit our different supports available to students, bringing them on campus to see all of the different facilities that are available to them, but also the ones that they'll engage with as a student in those programs. And then the final area is really strengthening that EKU affinity. And that's kind of what all of those points leading up to this have attempted or are attempting to do as well. We want to capitalize on the dual credit experience, which gives students an early access and early experience with EKU systems, with EKU faculty, with EKU coursework. They're already developing a brand recognition with EKU. They already know that EKU is an institution of higher education, and they're having positive experiences with us. Let's leverage those positive experiences. Let's grow those positive experiences so that we can utilize them in the first-time freshman recruitment process. Okay, I'm going to talk less now, and I'm going to give an overview of what we're moving into next, and then we'll just jump right into some conversation. So the next part of this session is going to be all about discussion and collaboration. It's an opportunity for us to discuss topics together, but I would also encourage you to discuss topics one after, like, you don't have to just address me. It can be anything that anybody else has already said. It could be something that you would like to build off of. That's a big thing that I would really encourage you to do. All right, so we'll have some discussion questions up on the next slide. Those are our guiding discussion questions for today. You're welcome to answer those questions directly, or you can feel free to add in anything else you would like to discuss today in our conversation. I have put a QR code and a link on our slide. You can use those to access a Google form. That Google form will also be shared with you after our session, and it's going to feature all the same discussion questions and an opportunity for you to add anything to those questions that you would like to add that maybe you didn't get a chance to speak on in our discussion, or if there's something else that you wanted to bring up at another time, please feel free to continue adding to that. We will review those contributions afterwards. I'm also going to be taking plenty of notes during our discussion. And so I want to make sure that you know that your voice is heard. Okay. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to review the discussion questions that we have. And then I'll go ahead and start asking for some responses. I might even start calling on people, but I don't want to do that. So please take a few moments to look over the questions that we have, and we'll engage with them together.
I have two questions.
This is Jenny. Yeah, what's up?
Okay, oh man, I'm trying to go back and forth looking between little lines. The two things that you talked about were that I really wanted to ask more questions about is plans to bring students on campus, which is
Mhm.
something we would hugely support, and more conversation about pathways
Yep.
and what all of those would look like. So, is there a particular strategy on those two items?
Great questions. I'll start with the pathways questions first, or pathway questions first. So for communication studies specifically, let me back up. Okay, so most of our dual credit pathways are currently aligned with career and technical education pathways that are published by the Department of Education, Career and Technical Education Division. Those pathways have been identified as aligning students with opportunities, educational opportunities, to earn credentials or take them to post-secondary programs that align with high-need fields in the Kentucky economy. Communication studies has been identified as one of those areas, and there are several tracks within communication studies that we can look at. So that is a fantastic opportunity that we already have built in. I do want to back up and just say that while most of our pathways are aligned with career and technical education, we are not limited to just career and technical education. We are absolutely willing and want to look into other pathways that lead students into non-career and technical education aligned coursework. What I would encourage is if there is a particular program that your department, your college that you represent are wanting to grow or wanting to engage in dual credit, start a conversation with me or my office, and we can take a look at some courses that would be appropriate for dual credit enrollment, and would help the student earn credit into that degree program. That way we'll just explore it together. All right, for bringing students to campus, we have a couple of ways of doing this. With our dual credit pathways, that's generally where you see the more interest in coming to campus, because those students they've already enrolled in classes with us. They've already identified that they're interested in those programs that correspond with that pathway, and would like to explore and learn more information about them. But that's not only the case. We have quite a few classes that are not aligned in any particular pathway, where we have teachers asking us to bring their students on campus. What I would recommend doing is potentially looking at the courses that we have on site hosted at our partner high schools first, because those are going to be larger cohorts of students that we can plan with one school, bringing 20, 25 students to campus all in one go, rather than try to organize 5 students from Clay County High School, 5 students from Mercer County Senior High School. However, we're more than willing to do that if that would be the beneficial. The other thing is if there are any already scheduled campus events or programs that your department or your college puts on, that you would like dual credit students to be invited to or attend, or you think it would be a good opportunity for them to come and view. Like a really great example is we invited dual credit students to the art showcase.
Yeah.
And we did have quite a few students who ended up coming.
Yeah.
We are
advertised
advertised to dual credit students, advertised to credit partners.
Yeah, so he's the only one on paper that's
Of dual credit students in those particular courses, if those events would be meaningful for them to come on campus and see and participate in. John.
Kind of related to follow-up, so of those 1,400 students, what is our retention rate of those who come to EKU?
Yeah.
And have they expressed any particular reasons why they would or would not come? Because I'm thinking as I look at this, it'd be much easier to develop these if we knew what their needs were.
Mhm.
Why are they not coming? What can we offer more that would entice them that they've expressed? What have you heard on that?
So right now, our matriculation from dual credit to first-time freshman status is sitting at 36%. That was for the fall 25 semester. So any cohort of dual credit students leading up to fall 25. When we look at T, so transfer to student types, it goes up quite significantly. I couldn't give you a data point, but it does go up quite significantly. So the students, they come back to EKU after they've had an experience with us. As far as what they're telling us why they didn't come to us, that's not something that we've really explored, to be honest with you. It is something that we've talked about, and it's something that I would like to learn more about. Why did you not decide to come to EKU after doing, I don't know, 12 credit hours with us? I would really like to learn more about that, and maybe we can connect on the best way to find that information out and how we can ask those questions.
Yeah, and I don't mean that as a negative.
No, that's
I love
great.
that these questions you've asked in
Yeah.
order to target, get more people,
Mhm.
and like, what's working, why didn't, and then we can follow that.
I don't have quantitative data to back this up at the moment, but we know that our dual credit pathways, they have a higher matriculation rate. The opportunities where students are able to take classes in the majors that they're interested in sequenced opportunities for them to take those classes, we're seeing that there is a higher correlation with their enrollment after completing or attaining a concentrator status, which is 2 classes completed of a 4-course pathway, or completer status, which is 4 courses of a 4-course pathway. And so that's become a pretty big indicator that we're focusing on. Just in general, what we know of the college search process and first-time freshmen coming to campus, like we know that parent engagement is a big thing, and that's something that my office is really exploring. But the number one thing is the number of times a student comes to a particular college's campus. That is the single biggest indicator of enrollment as a first-time freshman. And so that's one of the big reasons I'm really pushing to get our dual credit students both aware of the opportunities that you already offer, but also maybe some new opportunities for our dual credit students to come to campus. Like I'm even envisioning our students coming and seeing your all studios and everything. That would be fantastic. That'd be great. Dr. Manning Marie Manning is bringing a group of students from our education pathway to come and see the different facilities available to those students and see what our students are doing in those classrooms. And so I think those are going to be the one of the biggest ways that we can work on that matriculation. But yeah.
Sounds positive.
Yeah. Not to flex too hard, but the 36% is the highest among all the post-secondary, 4-year post-secondaries in the state. By a couple percentage points. The next one would be Moorhead, and they're sitting at 33%.
I have a quick question, please.
Yeah.
I guess clarify for me, when I deal with students like at freshman orientation, my impression has been from the majority of students I deal with, the dual credit is a vehicle to complete gen ed. And I don't hear a whole lot about pathways. So of all the students you talk about that are in dual credit, is there any idea in terms of they're just pursuing classes so that they can get to college and finish earlier? I mean, that's what I always thought and had the impression from students that they pursued dual credit for, was to get those classes, get them out of the way so that they could get in here and get out earlier.
Yeah, I would say that The majority of our dual credit students in our program, their primary enrollment is in general education. Our English 101, English 102, CMS 100, any mathematics and statistics, Psych 200, those are our biggest enrolled courses every single semester. There are fewer students who are enrolled in our dual credit pathways, but I'll qualify that with up until this past spring semester, EKU had 3 dual credit pathways. We are now up to 17 dual credit pathways and tracks of those pathways. So it's not really been a big focus of ours for the longest time to craft these specific sequenced enrollment opportunities for our students. So since adding those pathways, we have a lot more enrollment in them. Of our pathways, aviation is a very highly enrolled. Our justice studies pathways, criminal justice, police studies, corrections, they are also highly enrolled. And we're starting to see a lot of momentum in engineering, a lot of momentum in business, which are among our newest pathways. You're right, there is a perception that dual credit is mainly general education, but career and technical education and dual credit pathways are growing. They are going to be the future of dual credit enrollment. And career and technical education, this is a very broad statement and take it for what you will. It'll be the future of secondary education, of high school education. And the work that we're doing to craft these dual credit pathways that we can align with career and technical education, that's only going to advantage us as more schools continue to grow their career and technical education opportunities for within their schools and at area technology centers. I will say, though, that we still do have a number of students who are like Pokemon. They're trying to collect them all. They're trying to get through all the general education areas. But I'll tell you anecdotally, when Rodney, he's my assistant director, he and I go do advising and registration events. In fact, I'll be leaving here to go to an academic advising and registration event at Letcher County Central High School. We're working with our students in those academic advising sessions to not only find general educations that work for them in the programs that they want to enroll in after high school graduation, the programs, but we're also where it works and where it makes sense, plugging program-specific courses. Those dual credit pathways, and even program-specific courses that may not exist in a dual credit pathway currently, but somewhere that we can explore. So I'll just start from the top. Are there any resources or structures that would help your department feel supported in dual credit course delivery? I mean, that could be access to information. It could be timelines. It could be, one of the big things that Rusty and I've been working with our departments on is how do we incorporate FCT&L more in the preparing dual credit instructors for courses. What are some other resources or structures that you might see?
I'll monitor the chat.
Perfect. Or where do you see any opportunities to expand offerings or pathways? I'll come back to it. Jamie, we've talked about a psychology dual credit pathway. That would be wonderful. In fact, remind me, I have a student that I would really like for you to connect with at Berea Community. She's interested in IO. Yes. We had a fantastic conversation. Anyway, And then creative writing, Dom talked about in our last TLI session, having a creative writing dual credit pathway. We talked, John and Krista and Jenny, we talked about communication studies. There are a lot of fantastic opportunities for us to explore for our students to enroll those opportunities that will get them into your programs.
General question.
Sure.
Say we go nuts, how deep can we go into the pathways? What does the support look like institutionally for that? You know, if we want several pathways, or is there restrictions? Is there anything on your end? What are we looking at in terms of? And I'm not saying we will or won't, I'm just saying, should we go nuts and create these pathways? What does that environment look like?
Yeah. So I'll kind of start about like, I'll give the example of engineering, since it's one of our recent ones. Engineering was fortunate where we had a career and technical education alignment for it. And so we found, or KDE published a course list that we looked at, and we were able to identify a number of EKU courses in technology, in actually Dr. Chang helped us find a couple courses in computer science. Of course, Nilesh and the crew over in engineering found engineering and other technology courses that aligned with those. From there, it's setting up the structure to be able to offer those courses online, asynchronous or synchronous, and offering those courses on site at partner high schools. In the cases where partner high schools have the credential faculty member, have the credential teacher to be able to teach our coursework, that is our preferred modality, 100% through and through. A lot of really good reasons for it. I won't dive into those, not too far into the weeds. Having the structure to be able to onboard that faculty to teach those courses, that would be a big thing. Then the structure and ability to offer a section or two of those classes online. Asynchronous probably would be the best, in the sense that it would be the most accessible, because I mean, high school schedules, they don't align with ours. They don't even align with each other's within the same district. Madison Southern, Madison Central, it's like they're in different planets. So having the ability to offer those courses online would be a great way that we can offer the opportunity for students who wouldn't at their home high school or an area technology center, or they couldn't come to main campus or the regional campuses. From there, it's we'll handle all the scholarship, everything, getting students enrolled into the sections, marketing the courses, making them available to our students and our counselor populations. We'll just need support on the academic side of scheduling, of faculty preparation, of getting students to campus, or involved in any kind of affinity building experience. That was very broad. I'm sorry.
No, it answered in that direction.
Okay.
But it sounds like there's broad support for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a
Yeah.
good opportunity to partner.
Yeah, the dual credit office, we're looking for these kinds of experiences and to offer to our students, and it's somewhere that I feel really passionate about. And so if there's something that your departments want to explore, please hit me up. I'm more than willing to explore that with you. It's highly supported by Dr. Tanley Wasson, by Dan Hendrickson, our Chief Enrollment Officer. It's so over in SSEO, it's highly supported. It's something that Rusty and I have talked a lot about, how beneficial it can be, because it is a focused enrollment opportunity. It's not just random general educations. So yeah.
Great. We have a few comments in the chat as well.
Cool.
You have a good group on Zoom, Aaron. So I'll start with Julie's comments. The library would love to partner with any departments teaching dual credit pathways to provide library instruction or some digital learning objects related to information literacy.
Yes.
If there are assignments that have students doing research, but they're also happy to go to dual credit schools, or an invitation to have students come to us, being the library. So would you like to think through that? And also, Julie, feel free to come off of mute if you'd like to add more.
I think that sounds fantastic. That's something that Rusty and I have already talked about including into our faculty symposiums, making sure that our faculty are aware of not just the resources that students have available through the libraries and the Knoll Studio, but also encouraging our faculty to incorporate that into their classrooms. Of course, English 102 has a specific part of the curriculum that is dedicated to the student using those resources. But we also want to encourage our faculty to expand that to our other courses. Of course, I mean, the applications are unlimited. I still use the skills that I developed when I worked with my librarians back in the day. Was just researching on EBSCOhost for my paper for my class, and so it's we want to encourage our faculty to do that in our dual credit classrooms. I really like the open offer to bring students on campus, not just our 102 students, but also other classes that would really benefit from that. Something I'll ask is support and help from my academic department partners to help me identify those classes where it would be extremely beneficial for students to come on campus and have those experiences. That way it's not the wild, wild west and we have everybody coming. We want to prioritize those, of course. So yeah, I think that would be great.
Great.
And then also going to our partner high schools, that can really help out with access. Not all of our schools are able to finance buses coming on campus, and so the ability to be able to offer those opportunities, those learning opportunities on site at our partner high schools would be really beneficial too.
And that's a question that Dom had in the chat about resources that are available to help bring dual credit students to campus and how departments might tap into those. I know that's something that we've discussed,
Yep.
But it seems like there is a lot of interest in bringing bringing students to campus.
Yeah, so as far as coordination and scheduling and everything, our events team and then the dual credit team would be a great point of contact for helping to schedule getting students here, coordinate with our high schools, coordinate with conferencing events, with whomever it needs to go through to actually get the students to campus. As far as funding of getting of buses or lunches, or if it's a ticketed opportunity for students to be able to participate in, that's absolutely a conversation I'm willing to explore and have. We pay for the 102 students their lunches to come on campus, and we've also provided lunches for students who have come on campus for other opportunities that we've hosted for them. So yeah, I'm more than willing to explore it. I don't have a pot of money that I could tell you that we could throw at it, but it's definitely a conversation I'm willing to have and I want to have if we have an idea for the demand and we can discuss it more informed.
And there might be some ways to coordinate with existing university events.
Yeah.
Dom's showcase that he does in Keene Johnson is pretty impressive. So that might be one where dual credit students are able to interact in informally, you know,
Mhm.
with EKU students, and so maybe there are some ways to run a pilot.
Yeah.
And assess how it goes.
That'd be lovely.
All right. Chuck Elliott in the chat asked, who's responsible, dual credit or the department, to assure the quality of instruction is meeting what the department expects? I can offer some insight into that, but we have had extensive discussions about that. In some cases, Chuck, it would be the department if the instructor is already teaching or on staff in the department. That said, Aaron and I have been discussing what also could frankly be a gap. The instructors at area high schools would have some sort of process for ensuring instructional quality, but that could vary pretty widely. That's an area where I'd like a little bit more input into, and that Aaron and I will be asking for some feedback on is this an area where we need to focus attention? Do we need to look at ways to adapt what we do at EKU for dual credit? That is, do we need to ensure that there is a watermark equivalent to ensure that dual credit students are being surveyed? And then at the same time, do we need to have some sort of formal or structured peer observation? We have ideas, but let me pause there to see if that resonates with anyone as a priority.
Yeah.
Okay,
So, now we can talk offline more about what we do.
sure. I'd
Mhm.
love to hear what you do, and yeah.
Yeah, no, the CMS does it really well. English does it fantastic. I mean, including dual credit instructors in the first year writing seminar is one of the highlights for sure.
Yeah.
And then of course the faculty dual credit faculty symposium that Rusty and I are continuing to develop. That's another really great way that we're working to ensure that instructional and academic quality. If we can prepare our dual credit instructors adequately, exactly how we would want to prepare our traditional faculty, we can at least guarantee that they have the skills and knowledge to deliver the course curriculum. And as Rusty discussed, we're looking at ways that we can also measure and assess their ability, assess whether the students have achieved those student learning outcomes, and hold schools, students, faculty accountable.
Yeah, it's a good question. And for those of you that have mechanisms in place, Aaron mentioned several good examples, but that is an area that we're looking into.
Yeah.
Chuck, that was a longer answer, but it would be on the academic side. The dual credit side is a partner, but they're partnering with the departments and with academic affairs to ensure academic quality.
But we get, do the people have the credentials? Yes, they do. We give them the syllabus of the other sections saying this is what you have to cover. And then you're never, these are the lab courses, the science courses. And so unless we get the instructor of the class here to show up there, the school has some budget cuts, and the laboratory experience is not what you would expect to see. And so, we get a little bit of some students that are like, haven't had that, or we didn't cover that sort of thing when you encounter some of these students. And so that was where it was coming from, especially from the sciences where we have laboratory components, and we give them the material, they say they're doing it, but we're not sure. And as you know, science and lab, they become the thing that gets cut when schools have to cut their budget.
Mm-hmm. That's useful information to have, Chuck. It is something that that we've been discussing. We're looking for a comprehensive way to ensure that the quality of instruction is there, and that, you know, we have the continuity across all of the courses that we're teaching through dual credit.
Yeah. And the dual credit office also has, we have a lot of contact, communication lines with the schools, with the district. And so if there's ever any questions that you have about the courses, we can of course connect you with the dual credit instructor. But it can also be a connection with the school as an entity itself, the principals, the administrators, with the district. But if there's anything in particular that you're looking for, like the ability for students to engage with laboratories or clinical experiences or anything like that, that's something that we can review together to ensure that that is an expectation right up front, and that there possibly could be consequences if those expectations are not met. I'm not willing to sacrifice the academic experience for numbers. Okay. How are we doing on time? Yeah.
Are there other questions from those of you on Zoom today? I don't see anybody unmuting, and the chat seems to have calmed down a bit.
Done a good job of answering the questions.
So,
Well, so again, the Google form that was linked earlier, it'll be communicated to all participants after our session concludes. That'll be a good way for you to continue adding to our conversation. Rusty and I will review your responses, and we'll use that, of course, to shape our different initiatives and projects moving forward. This has been really insightful for me. The first TLI session was also really great. I know that this has been something that has been missing in dual credit is having these collaborative experiences, conversations, listening towards everything. And so I'm really, really excited to be engaging with you all in these ways. And the other thing is that I would really encourage you all to continue the conversation at any point. I'll just scoot it over really quick. My email is right there. I'm more than happy to set up a time to meet with you in person, Zoom, phone call, whatever works best for you and your team. We're an open door. We would like to continue exploring dual credit opportunities with your department, but we would also like to make sure that you all feel supported and heard. And so just reach out. With that, I'll again say thank you for joining us today. It was a really insightful discussion, so thank you so much again, and stay tuned for some updates from the Dual Credit Office.
Thank you.
Thank you.